Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 423, Fast 10, Lap 15. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by CarverCovers.com. Our style-to-fit and specialty kayak and canoe covers will keep your units clean and protected, available in plenty of high-quality materials. Shout out to Carver by Covercraft.
Well, shout out to Carver and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. With us tonight is a friend of a show, which is maybe a description we've not used before. We know this person. We're meeting this person. I've said all of about 15 words to her before and maybe about 30 via email. She is... Oh, here she is. Woo. We know her through Jay Cluitt and Mark Hoffmeyer over at Deep Blue Sea and all of that network of podcasts. With us tonight to talk about Fast 10, we have Emily Slade. Hello, Emily.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here. Now, Joe, I teased this a while ago, and I want to get a quick reaction, then we'll do a little bit of the diversion, then go back into this.
Okay.
Emily had never seen a Fast and Furious movie.
This is where she starts.
Threw her off the deep end into the 10th movie that does not have an ending. So, Emily, I don't want to
spoil anything, but these are some of my favorite episodes.
What was your reaction to watching the 10th movie in a franchise you had never seen any before?
It was wild. So I think I genuinely expected them to be not kinder, but considerate, perhaps, to people such as myself who might be popping to the cinema, having never seen the previous 9 installments. I was expecting a sort of Serenity-esque Joss Whedon, just a 1-minute roundup as we go around the table and be like, by the way, this is who this person is, and that's how they're related to each other. And then I realized that I was watching what was essentially the Infinity War of the Fast and Furious franchise because the camera kept telling me that someone important had showed up. And I was like, Jason Statham's in this? Wait, what?
So, yes, there is no, hey, if you didn't see Firefly, here is making sense of the characters. We for a long time said these movies were for a while pretty good at, if you had not seen any of them, you could jump in and kind of get a sense of, like, if not who everyone is in the relationships, like, at least what they're doing here. This one, not really. So I was...
Sorry, no, it's just absolutely wild in the sense as well that, like, you get assumptions on who these people are. And then I did I didn't do any research before I watched it because I wanted to go completely cold. And then briefly after, because it piqued my interest, I was like, ooh, what did happen in F9? Because, like, I love Charlize Theron. And if she was, like, the villain in that, like, that sounds pretty cool. And then it was like John Cena did a 180 character shift or something. And I was like, well, because I loved his character in Fast X. What do you mean he was completely different in Fast and Furious 9? Like, what? So it feels like this movie in itself, and obviously correct me if I'm inevitably wrong, is a wild version of it in itself within the franchise. But it's like a real departure. Because I look at the poster of the first one and I'm like, cool, I get what's going on here. You look at the poster of this one and you're like, what?
So, compared to the first one, yes, wild departure. Compared to the, like, what's Joey's 5 through 10 kind of feels on brand, right?
They have become more and more difficult
zany.
To parse. Yeah.
Zany is definitely what I would describe it, because this is now, you have an idea of what a Fast and Furious movie is. When I watched this and I was like, okay, it was the same idea that I had, but knocked up to 10. But now I assume that all Fast and Furious movies, like, have cars dodging lava.
Well, the last one in 9, I don't know if you saw in 9, they go to space in a car. So there is something...
It was a joke!
It was a joke.
And then it became a
when
real
he was
thing.
like, he went to space. And I was like, sure, okay. Oh my God, amazing.
Where to begin? Let's pause for here. Let's come back to this because I think that there's going to be a lot of like because I want to understand. I want to get a sense of like what you think you saw, what you actually saw. Because I will say when Jay connected us, I said, okay, we have 9 and 10. This was like a month or two ago, whatever. We have 9 and 10 available, or we can do next lap. You can do an earlier move. She's like, I'll do a later one. That's fine. I'm like, cool. Like let's just do that. So I want people to know if they're listening, when they're listening, we were not outright cruel. We're not just like, hey, jump off the deep end. She was game for this, so we're doing it. So I think there is something fun But yes, it's a lot, and this one in particular is a lot. And I think it's good to know, at least set the baseline, because like we've had people jump in at like 8 before, or 9 before, 7 before, like as their first movie. 10, this is because this is the newest movie in the franchise, so you are the first guinea pig we have in terms of this. And so I want to know if this is fair going forward or not, because the more movies there are, the harder it is to find someone who's seen them all to talk about a later one. So, but we'll get there in a second. First, though, I want to get answers to a couple questions. So these are sort of Fast and Furious, but really not at all. They are references, they are lines from earlier films that don't have anything to do with the movies themselves, but we have become fascinated with, and we ask every guest what they think these mean. And again, there is no prior Fast and Furious knowledge needed for any of these questions.
Or honestly, right or wrong answers.
Having none might even help you. But in the first movie, very simple, very grounded. They are stealing DVD players in California. There is a character named Vince who is hitting on Mia, who is in this movie, Dom's sister. And Brian, Paul Walker, passed away, R.I.P., is there. And so Vince is bullying Brian, and then he asks Mia, basically just wants to hit on Mia. And then Mia says to Vince, hey, Vince, what's the name of that restaurant you like? It's got the wood tables, the red candles, the picadillo, the food all over the place. And Vince says, cha-cha-cha. And Mia turns to Brian and says, Brian, you can take me there. We hear this line and we're like, what does food all over the place mean? So, Emily, if we say to you, next time you're in the area, we had such a great time on the podcast, let us take you out to dinner. We will beat for beat describe the plot of every single Fast and Furious movie to you because we know that you want them.
Not torture her.
We know this great restaurant. It's got wood tables, red candles, picadillo. It's got food all over the place. When you hear a restaurant described as having food all over the place, what does that conjure up in your mind?
Like breadsticks on every table, olive bowls on every table, but then also like fake food as like decor.
Okay.
That's what springs to mind. Is this like a psychological test as to how fast and furious I am?
No, not at all. No.
This is a line that no one else has ever thought about or asked about in the history of man, and then we've asked, 50 people what they think this means, and we don't know.
Is there a consistent answer?
Nah.
Messy.
Food fight, we get a lot, something like that. Like food on the floor, like kind of dirty.
No, because in theory it would be, it wouldn't because it's cha-cha-cha, but in theory you start thinking of like Lady and the Tramp Italian, like checkered tablecloths, like red but checkered. So then you think like big plastic loaves of bread and like grapes dripping off of the side of like
fake cheese hanging. I get you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because the weird thing, Emily, is we see the restaurant they go to at the end of the movie, and there's no even remote answer to what food all over the place could possibly mean. It's just a normal restaurant. If anything, it's a boring restaurant.
Have you ever been able to get anyone from cast, crew, direction, screenwriters? Because that will have to obviously be the one and only question you ask them, and then just
we do want to ask Jordana Brewster. I don't really want to actually interview anybody of significance in these movies, but I do want to ask her one question. What do you mean by this? She's going to be like, I don't know what you mean.
I don't remember ever saying that for 20 years ago.
Okay, so that's perfect. Okay, incredible. Question number 2. In the 7th movie, so getting close, getting more modern, Roman, the Tyrese Gibson character who is in this movie, is bragging about how all of these things he has done to help the family, time and time again, he has saved the day over and over again. He says, I took that thing out the sky of a bow. And Brian, again, Paul Walker, says, the only thing I've ever seen you take down is No Knees Denise at prom. And Roman gets really defensive. Everybody laughs at Roman. He says, really, Brian, you can do that now? So if you hear someone as having no knees, there's no knees Joe, there's no knees Emily, there's no knees Denise, what does that conjure up in your mind? What do you picture as no knees blank?
So we actually, in my real life, have a running joke. Oh. And it's cruel, unfortunately. It is cruel.
We've heard a lot of answers to this, too, so I don't think that you can make us blush here.
Yeah, no, and it's not, because 50% of your brain goes like blowjob territory, but then 50% of your brain goes like obese territory, like she's got no knees because they can't be seen under the folds of like skin. So those are the two places that my brain goes. And I'm sure that's the generic answer that most people give you. She's either, you can't see her knees because she's on them all the time, or you can't see her knees because she's too fat. And both of them are deeply misogynistic and cruel.
We've heard both. We've heard too prudy as well, that she's never on her knees. Yeah, so we've heard the whole range.
Oh, I see. Of course. Equally misogynistic.
Equally, still same, but...
So the other question that we have, the only other conversation starter question here, is from the same movie. Roman, again, later, has to distract a room full of strangers by doing a song. He does this birthday song, which is kind of happy birthday, but also kind of not happy birthday, and he just needs to shine bright like only Roman Pierce can. So, Emily, this is a question for you. The three of us are doing a heist. Joe and I need to go in the other room. We need to take care of some very serious car business. We need you to shine bright like only Emily Slade can. What song are you singing that is either so good that people cannot take their eyes and ears off you, or so bad they can't look away? What song are you singing karaoke style to distract a room full of strangers?
I'm singing Before He Cheats by Carrie Underwood.
Love
Excellent.
It.
Karaoke style.
Now, is it good or is it bad?
I'm sorry, it's exceptional.
I love it.
I'm very good at singing.
Now here's a question. In case people have not noticed, you have a bit of a British accent.
A bit.
When you sing Southern country, does the British bleed into it, or do you do like an American impersonation of a Southern country?
Yeah, so I don't go full country for Before He Cheats. It's sort of just a standard, a generalized American to that. But if I'm singing Goodbye Earl by the Chips, I am full South, deep South.
Perfect.
Deep South.
Cool.
Also, all of these get compiled into one playlist, Emily, that we've have everyone's karaoke selection into one Spotify playlist.
That's amazing! Oh my god, I love that.
So you'll get added along Before He Cheats, gets added on to this playlist that is wildly all over the board, but yes.
Yes. Incredible.
So now, those are all the very difficult open-ended questions that we have so far, so just get a sense of like what the show is really about. But before we talk about Fast 10 and try to answer your questions or find out what you thought of it more detailed, what kept you away? These movies have been going on for almost 25 years by this point. There's been so many opportunities to watch a movie with a friend, with a partner, with a family, by yourself. And yet, time and time again, until two people from America said, hey, join us to talk about the 10th movie for the 10th time on the show, what kept you away from the franchise?
I think subconsciously in the back of my head, I knew an opportunity like this would arise, and I was almost saving myself for it. And that sounds ridiculous, but like it was either going to be this or it was going to be I would do my own thing where I was like, right, it's time, everyone. Let's watch all the Fast and Furiouses in one day or something. And the reason I hadn't up until that point is because the first one came out in 2001. So I would have been still in high school, so I was still watching, children's things essentially. And then any boyfriend I've had has either already seen the Fast and Furious films, so they would not rewatch them, or they've been like, no, let's watch Three Colors, like the Three Colors trilogy or something, that kind of thing.
The opposite kind of boy. Okay, I get it.
And then I've never caught them on television.
That's insane, because they're constantly playing on loop on television.
Not in the UK. I've honestly never caught them on the TV in the UK.
You guys have done a wonderful job of simplifying the titles. Instead of Too Fast, Too Furious,
do you know about the American titles?
5. Are you aware of the differences or no?
No, what?
So what is the second movie called?
Too Fast, Too Furious, and I only know that because in the Shrek 2 DVD menu, Donkey suggests the title Too Fast, Too Donkey.
Okay, because there was for a while, I think for the first 5 or 6 or 7 movies, they were just straight up called The Fast and Furious 1, The Fast and Furious 2, The Fast and Furious 3, The Fast and Furious 4.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. It's boring. But this movie, when you watch this movie, this is not called The Fast and Furious 10. This is called Fast 10 for you. Fast X for you.
Fast X, which is weird because there's also like Furious 7.
Okay,
and
so
then,
you're aware, yeah.
Shanghai Nights? No.
Tokyo Drift. You were
Tokyo
close.
Drift?
Yeah, that's 3. Shanghai Nights.
And then Hobbs and Shaw, is that a spin-off or is that also a Fast and Furious movie? My God, the lore runs deep. I don't know anything.
That one's actually the Fast and Furious presents : Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh. Yep. So are they still just called Fast and Furious 1 through to 5 in America?
No, the other way around. We got a
a
magazine from a friend that was on the show before, Liam, that was from the UK, and when we looked through it, they were like, "Oh, Fast and Furious 1, Fast and Furious 2," and we were like, "Wait, they don't have the goofy titles in the UK?" So like, at some point, you guys must have acknowledge them, but like
that's crazy.
For a while, yeah.
I think I must have seen. Do you know what as well? And this is gonna sound, just to go back to another reason why I might not have seen them. When I was I would have been the prime age to be watching these in cinemas, but they would have been advertised, and I would have seen a trailer, and they would have been everything that I would not wanted to have seen. Fast cars, loud men shouting, seemingly sexist portrayals of women.
Yep.
Like, there was absolutely no way I was going to touch them. And then the older you get, the more retrospective you get, the more nostalgic you get, the more that they keep coming out and it won't die. But you're like, you know what? I'll probably enjoy, like, I was like in my head, oh, I'll get like some chicken wings and a beer, and then I'll watch the Fast and Furious. And that's like how you're supposed to watch the Fast and Furious. And that was what was going to be in my head as to how I was going to enjoy these movies. And then this is the absolute best opportunity to have been introduced to them ever. Because, in a similar vein, I've never seen a Bourne film. I've never seen a Mission Impossible film. There was just like this big like boy genre that I've just ignored. But I can tell you anything you want about 80s sword and sorcery.
Okay, so here's a question for you. This is actually something that we've been asking people, and I think you're gonna offer a unique perspective, because it feels like every normal answer to this question is not a movie that you have either seen or enjoy. Maybe there's a sword and sorcery version of this, but this is in between covering the Fast and Furious movies this lap. It's our theme is the oops, we should have covered that already. So they're movies that are like feel like the Fast and Furious, or star the actors or whatever, that like
tangentially related.
Just hadn't covered. So is there a movie out there? It could be something. I know that you have not listened to every episode of the show, and I it's
applaud
okay.
You for that. Applaud you for that.
Mm-hmm. But is there a movie out there that you're like, you know what, this reminded me of? Is another movie that I think you guys might like, or that reminds me of Fast and Furious, or is like the sword and sorcery, the 80s, Jennifer Connelly on a horse version of Fast and Furious?
That's a good question. The first thing that came to mind, I imagine it was the first thing you did, was The Expendables.
We have not done any of The Expendables yet. I've seen them all.
Purely because it was like a big ensemble cast, but then, you go back to Fast and Furious 1 and it doesn't sound like it's a big ensemble cast. Also, I was aware of the actor dying, and then there's like a song.
Yeah.
I don't know what the song... There's like a song.
See You Again, yeah.
I did not realize, because you mentioned it, like the opening of this movie is the opening, my understanding is the plot of 5, where they've just, I assume, CGI Jason Momoa into old footage.
Yep.
Love that. But he was there. Paul Walker was there. And I was fully under the impression that he died after like movie 1.
7.
And then they just continued in his memory. Wow, that's a long run.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder it's such a big deal then.
So there is,
I did always wonder.
When you were talking about like sort of the framework of how we get here, this franchise, for lack of a better term, like suffered a lot over the span of like 5 years, because Paul Walker dies, the star of the franchise dies. He's been in 6 of the 7 movies. He's gone. There's also COVID. There's the writer strikes. And so we are in a really weird place where, like, if they had a trajectory, even though Joe and I believe they kind of don't, back, they just kind of make things up as they go along. If you were to believe that, like, they were, okay, we know an end game, we want to get to this part, we want to build off these characters and have these villains come in or come back or whatever, a lot of that between 2015 and 2021, 22, whatever, between, like, when Paul dies and this movie comes out, directors quit, right? Like,
directors
so
quit the
much.
week before shoot, like...
Yes.
We've had some wild stuff happen.
Yeah, the guy who directed this movie, Louis Leterrier, came in a week after production began because Justin Lin, who had directed a bunch of them, quit on set. So there's been a lot of drama in terms of getting to where we are now.
We've had The Rock and then don't have The Rock because there's like an inner fight.
I forgot The Rock was part of the Fast and Furious franchise until I waited to the end credits bit, and I was like, oh yeah.
So yeah, did you, and then also like Gal Gadot popping up out of that submarine at the end too, like she's...
I was like, what is Gal Gadot doing here?
She was in 3 of the movies. She is dead, but she's not dead because now she's back. So for someone who's never seen the movies,
death is very loosey goosey in the Fast and Furious.
The other guy, he was like, "You're moving well for a dead guy." So I was like, "Oh, did he die in a previous movie?"
Yes, also true, and yes, he did. So Han.
So does that mean John Cena's not dead?
That's a really good assumption and a question that we have still. And I thought this time, like, there is a roll cage in the car. I can't imagine they kill him off. Like, all the people in the airplane at the end were split. We've had fans that say they're all dead, and then a lot of people were like, they're definitely not dead because they're not going to kill up 4 of them off screen. So, yeah, so you've encountered in this film 3 people that are dead that are not dead anymore at different points of the franchise.
At least, is it only 3?
As someone following the franchise, is it exciting? Is it Marvel level, on your left cap when Gal Gadot popped her head out of that submarine? Were you like, or were you just like, what?
I think our reaction was more like, I guess that makes sense. At this point, like, we were excited to have Gal back, but it was also like, yeah, I could see it.
Another thing this franchise has done, which really threw every meaningless death, whatever, into the mix, which was Han, who is in this movie, dies in the 3rd movie. And
the 3rd?
Wait, but he's only in it's his first appearance in the 3rd movie, and by the end of the film, he is dead.
Yes, and like it's a big emotional moment, and then the main guy, like, unrelated to that, but then wins the race to end the movie. The next movie starts, and Han's there. And it's like, hold on, what's going on here? And then Dom's like, so what's your plan, Han? He goes, I want to make it to Tokyo one day. And it's like, okay, so we're going to get back to Tokyo. So now we're in the past.
We retconned back.
Like Final Destination.
Yes. Spoilers sort of for Final. Yes. But yes.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's a good reveal of a movie that I don't love. But anyway.
So then he's in the next 3 movies.
He's in the next 3 movies, and then he dies again.
So they're all in the past.
They're all in the past, so that
but shot in the future with cars and technology from the time that exists of the time.
At the end of 6, we catch up to the end of 3. But then, in 9, he comes back again, and that death that we've seen now 3 times in 3, 6, and 7 didn't actually happen. He was rescued by Kurt Russell's character.
Who's not in this.
In this world, but not in these movies, because they're just like, we'll get to him when we get to him.
Kurt Russell is Brie Larson's dad in this franchise.
See Kurt Russell. I love Kurt Russell.
Yeah, we do too.
So was this the first time you've seen Brie Larson?
Yes.
She's not... I was like, Brie Larson's in these? No, just this one.
Just this one.
No, also, like, when Brie Larson just popped up in an episode of The Bear, I'm like, is she in these? But I don't remember if she's in these. Like, she's in that wedding.
Yeah, that's
just
right.
Like,
You're right, yeah.
Was she here? I'm just like,
I don't know.
She's in there or she's not. I don't know.
You were preconditioned from Fast and the Furious. She just showed
exactly.
up.
Yeah. So, Emily, did you enjoy the experience of just, like, getting dumped in the deep end?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because I appreciate that you were open to it, but, like, was it fun?
It was really fun. I was so ready to have fun, and I was having such a good time. And then about an hour in, I got the scene that was like, oh, like, this is a Fast and Furious movie.
What was it?
Like, it was just complete, like, women's bodies for about 5 minutes and, like, 4 shiny cars. And, like, nothing else. And then they raced the shiny cars with lots of women in bikinis. And I was like, this is my understanding of what a Fast and Furious movie is. What's all this plot that's been happening up until this point? Like, this is a Fast and Furious movie. And I was like, I was engaged at that point. And it was when we started to hit the 2-hour mark. And I was conscious of the fact that it was a 2-hour and 20-minute movie. And I was like, they've got a lot of wrapping up to do. Everyone's in a different place. I want Michelle Rodrigo to be okay, like, because I love her and what's going on. And then absolutely fucking inexcusably Hobbit 3 levels of bullshit happened. And then it ended. And I was like, you didn't even give me a full movie. You lied to me. I felt cheated. I did not feel excited. Now I have to go and bloody watch a Fast and Furious movie in cinemas just to see how this shit ends because I'm invested now. And I'll probably watch all the other ones just so I actually know who everyone is. But yeah, I did definitely enjoy it. I really wanted to lean into what was happening and enjoy it for what it was. And I was enjoying it for what it was. Then you do the classic thing where you go on Letterboxd and everybody was like, half star, worst thing I've ever seen. And you're like, cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool. I don't know what I'm talking about.
So to like go back, that you were thinking that the Fast and Furious is about cars and butts, which it is, right? The thing that I think that we try to pitch is that it's actually like there's something for everyone in these. So like your unapproachability at the beginning, saying like you thought these were like boy movies and stuff like that, they actually have like a lot of like sweet found family type situations. You know, they're like, it's like one of the most diverse casts you see in a movie in the theaters, right?
Honestly, and like about halfway through, I suddenly was like incredibly conscious of how many named female
well, that's a new
characters
thing. That's a new thing.
That has been.
They've done better. They've done better.
I was like, this movie is passing the Bechdel test. Like it passes, which I was shocked about. But then I was also like, it is the 10th in the franchise. Like, I assume if I go back to Fast and Furious 3, there's only going to be Michelle Rodriguez, and she only talks about,
well, she's not.
Jesus.
Michelle Rodriguez is at a very... I did note this time, because we talk about this a lot, but I thought it was funny that the agency, take Letty in this movie, because Michelle Rodriguez, Letty, Dom's love interest, is not in the second movie because that's sort of like not a spin-off, but like a different thing. She's not in the third movie because that's also similar. 15 minutes into the fourth movie, she dies. She is gone the entire fourth movie. She's gone the entire fifth movie. In the credits for the fifth movie, they're like, oh, she's back. In the sixth movie, she's there, but she has amnesia. And then she's kind of herself in 7 getting back. And then she's herself in 8, 9 in this one. But we never talked about before that she gets taken away again in this movie. That they're like, the agency has her just like...
And also, on the other flip side of that, Gal Gadot is in like 2 full movies without being named at all. Mm-hmm. She just exists with no name for just 2 movies. So there's a lot of back and forth that happens in these.
Yeah, this is it, because I was really paying attention, and at one point, it's minor, but at one point, Charlize Theron and Michelle Rodriguez are talking about something other than Vin Diesel. And at that moment, they passed the Bechdel test. So I was like, well done, movie. Well done. That's absolutely fucking insane to hear that Michelle Rodriguez seems completely disused despite being she's like, the only things I knew about the Fast and Furious was family. Family, family, family. And I assumed that to mean that these characters were important and talked and were on screen for all of the movies, especially if she seems to be his wife. They talk about a dead woman who Ratcatcher 2 is like related to. And I was like, wait, is the kid the dead woman's kid? Or is the kid like their kid? Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah. The answer is yes. No, the answer to all your questions was yes. That's the only way I can answer it. And also wait till you meet Jordana Brewster's character and see the shit that she has to go through in these films. Oh my God. Yeah. And
you can see now why I was opting as an impressionable teenager to not watch a movie where the main woman gets amnesia and is not involved in 3 of the movies.
But anyways, there is stuff for everyone. Like they do pretty good. Like for a lot of movies we watch.
I feel like while we're here in the like vague criticism circle, I do want to. I feel like we cannot not mention Jason Momoa. And whilst on the one hand, I thought his colourful, psychotic villain was a joy. It was all saturation and silly thrills, which was really, really enjoyable to watch on like a cinematic scale. But he is undeniably queer coded in the worst possible way, and it's beyond borderline like offensive. Like it's very old fashioned stereotype queer coding, foppish behavior to be a villain. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
the one thing that this franchise, like, so this franchise is a really good job historically of representation. There's a lot more black characters and, you know, other non-white people, a lot of bald men too. There's bald representation as well. But the one thing it is really lacking is queer representation. There is a non-binary character in the video game, which is sort of canon, but not really canon. So like there's a little bit there, but in terms of the main franchise, outside of two hot women making out for the first 4 movies, like there's not really like stuff on screen. And then there's elements. We for a while thought Hobbs, the Rock character, was gay. We still think he might be, but like,
well, I think there's certainly room in their family to introduce a member of the LGBTQ plus community, and I think that would offset any like potentially unintentional, but it seems intentional what they did with Jason Momoa, and perhaps he just didn't follow any direction. But
that's kind of what it sounded like when he pitched it and did the promo. He was like, I wanted to like push my boundaries and be a villain and like peacock and show myself. So he made
unfortunately though, like that's still tied up with like
understood.
Do you know what I mean?
He made it sound like it was his personal take on a character and his choices when he was pitching the character.
Yeah, which is interesting because then you'd think someone higher up would be like, oh my God, no, we can't like infer that the primary villain of this now seemingly next 2 movies is queer coded. Because if he was outright gay, that wouldn't be a problem. But he's very clearly just queer coded, which is like the worst of both worlds, where it's like we're going to infer that homosexuality is bad and villainous, whilst also not actually having this person come out as a member of the community.
Mm-hmm. I do think that there is something like, I love, this is going to be a roundabout way to get there, but I love Nicolas Cage. This podcast network started with me and a friend doing a Nicolas Cage podcast, and more than once Nicolas Cage showed up to a movie set like, this is my character, this is my voice, here's what I'm doing, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, even his uncle, like Francis Ford Coppola, is just like, that's not what we agreed on. He's just like, okay, then fire me, basically. And they went forward with the crazy Charlie Bodell voice from Peggy Sue Got Married. Like, it happened. So I don't know. I don't know where we stand on here. If this is Momoa, I think it could be good, it could be bad.
It's tricky. It's really tricky. And fundamentally, when he was painting the toenails of the dead, like henchmen and chatting to them, that was delightful. Like that was absolutely sparkling gem of cinema. But I just wanted to like throw it out there and be like, anyway, this is problematic. But you know, I'm sure there's countless things in countless movies that are problematic. It's just nice to go, Jason.
Yeah.
Have a think next time.
Yeah. The scene you're talking about where he is with the dead bodies is like a level of horror, for lack of a better description, that like has not been seen in any of these movies so far. So like,
they're not like torturous.
I wondered.
He's pushing boundaries in a few directions that are maybe interesting, but also, again, 10 movies on the main franchise, 11 if you count the spin-off. It's like, well, I don't know if we should be rocking the boat this much, but he does bring life to a franchise that like,
the Cypher character is like very like she's like very stoic. I don't have a better word.
And
for
like Cena Jacob, which is like a military guy. Like there's stuff here that like there's a burst villainy. Like the bad guys in these movies have never been the strong part because
you're not rooting for them.
That surprises me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Questionable ethics and representation aside, Momoa is doing something in a way that like has not really been seen. Like there's something like, oh, he's making a character, as opposed to like this is a drug dealer, or this is a crime lord, or this is a guy who's like a corrupt
hacker.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's really interesting to hear because from Momoa's performance, I got the impression that here's a Fast and Furious movie. There's going to be fast cars. Vin Diesel's going to say family a lot. They're going to drink Corona. And then we're going to have some like cool villain, and it's going to be like Batman's lineup of villains, where it's like in Fast and Furious 3, we have this person. And like from what I saw of Cypher, and then from what we got of her in this movie, I was like, ooh, and that was like a Rosamund Pike in a James Bond movie, like icy tech queen character. Like that's fun. And then I assumed all the previous villains had been fun, but actually it makes complete sense that they're all just going to be like
bad guy
drug dealers.
Yeah.
It is rival criminal, like I don't know how to describe Johnny Tran, but just like just the first movie, like so low stakes, but just like rival kind of drug lord, drug sort of middle guy / high school bully, drug lord, drug boss, crime guy, Owen Shaw is interesting, but like just sort of like
Wait,
bad.
as in Shaw and Hobbs Owen. Who's
Yes.
Owen Shaw?
So Owen Shaw
Is that Jason Statham?
No, it's his brother.
It's his brother, yeah. We get his brother first.
It's all about family, you guys.
It's another one of Britain's proud.
What's his
Oh
name?
boy, Luke Evans.
Luke Evans
plays Owen Shaw.
He's Welsh.
He's Welsh. I'm sorry.
Welsh.
So he is kind of like, he's good, but I don't really know how to describe him. 7, there's kind of like warlord kind of Mosey Jaconda, and also becomes like hacker as a villain. And then 8 is Cypher, where hacker as a villain. Then 9 is sort of hacker as a villain, also in military. And then 10 is like son of crime boss, but also doing his own thing. So
how did you guys feel about that they tried to integrate the villain in with another villain, a previous villain?
5 is one of the best films in the franchise. So they were going back to the well. Yeah, like 5, we often say that 5 is like the pivot point where like they become action movies. Like honestly, one of the best, like just movie wise. Like if I were to recommend another one to you, we would recommend 5. I think would be like the next one to do.
Yep.
It's often called The Italian Job 2. Is like
I wouldn't say often called The Italian Job 2. We thought that one thing, so we're pushing that narrative.
By us, we've been calling it The Italian Job 2.
Nice.
Yeah. So
you may have heard it referred to as Italian Job 2 by us on this podcast.
Yeah, true. We read it somewhere. We didn't make this up. That's the worst part. We can't find where it said it, but okay.
No, the original thing was that there was a screenplay for The Italian Job 2 that they just had kicking around. They're like, oh, we'll adapt into a Fast and Furious movie, have a little bit more cars and have this and that and whatever, and add the family in.
Fun.
And then it became like pretty universally considered the best movie in the franchise. So maybe that's the key. Like just start out with something that's not Fast and Furious and make it Fast and Furious. I don't know.
That's a really cool idea, and I would watch Fast and Furious with aliens or Fast and Furious with dragons. Like I really would, because you've got a lot of scope there. It felt like a legacy movie, this movie, in how much I was learning about the lore just through exposition of other characters, where they were like, look at all of their things on these convenient screens around me, all of these previous movies that we have. And they've collected people from all of these various movies, and now they're all a found family. But equally, like, I was shocked to my core at how genuine religion seemed to play a part in this idea of family as well, to the point where then Momoa is so clearly an atheist, like outwardly so.
Interesting.
So it suddenly felt like really controversial as a thing for what's probably the biggest cinematic event next to Marvel, and what brings all the teenage boys out to the cinemas and then makes all the filmmakers only make movies for teenage boys now, etc., etc., etc. It's like we have an opportunity within these movies, I think, and possibly a responsibility to put out some really good messaging. And in theory, it's there. In theory, it is. Because there's one point where they got really intimate on a jet and he was like, hey, man, like, actually, you were a good leader this time round, and I love you. And I was like, how brilliant. Like, yes, let's teach all the teenage boys that they can tell each other that they love each other as platonic friends and that it's not bad to do that. And then it was immediately undercut by like a rubbishy joke and shoving it off, and I was like, you fucking ruined it. Like, what are you doing? You have a responsibility. You have eyes on you. This is the 10th of you, and you have really, I don't know, I just feel they don't have a responsibility at all. They only have a responsibility to make fast car, loud movies. But wouldn't it be wonderful if they took the opportunity? Yeah, exactly. But wouldn't it be wonderful if they took the opportunity to not queer code their villains and to actually promote these, like, what they say they're promoting, but then when you watch them, you're not actually promoting them, kind of thing. I don't know. I did feel it's surprising again to hear Michelle Rodriguez's role in the previous movies, because from this I was of the understanding that she had just always been along for the ride, literally and figuratively.
They want you to believe that she always is. She just isn't.
And that sucks.
There's also a charm to it. Like if you're growing with them and the family, there's a charm to it that might not be there for you. You know what I mean?
It certainly charmed me. I certainly can see. I will be going to the cinema to watch part 2.
Love it.
Like,
that's awesome.
I could easily not.
Awesome.
But like, I want to see how this shit ends. I want to see how they manage to survive. I want to know who Gal Gadot is, because that's so exciting to me. You've got 3 women in the Arctic now, and potentially Brie Larson can come and join them. That's really fun if we've got like a women's side hustle as well as like everything that's happening.
Well, so
with the men.
there was a time, and again, you might have heard this on this podcast and basically nowhere else, but there was a time where this franchise was like really rolling, where like Paul Walker's death propels Fury 7 to make more than $1 billion worldwide, and like these movies are at the top of their game, and there's lots of interesting dynamic female characters, and they had basically said we're writing a movie where Letty is going to lead this spin-off with all women, and it's just to be like a women's Fast and Furious.
That was Vin pitching it as the creative directive. Like he
wanted. I've always wanted a female Expendables, which would have to be led by Michelle Rodriguez.
7 or 8 years later, nothing has come of it. So you're going to have 3 women in the Arctic in the next movie, but also you might not, because Universal's been like, you got to trim the budget here. We're going to bring it back to Los. There is a lot of
behind the scenes happening right now that we don't know what 11's actually. There is a point where we were thinking that we might not get the end of this movie, or they might just hit us with a wow, that was crazy, and just like put them all back together and start anew. Is like, that's a theory that we were like, we might go into 11 and they might be like, wow, I can't believe we got out of that. And then
Joe has said like they're gonna wake up from a dream and basically just be like, wow,
not wake up from a dream, but just
reset.
Yeah, just be like, oh, cool, and then they just have like a flashback and then it's over.
Because they really put all of their characters in like deep, deep peril. All of them should be dead.
Yeah.
If the laws of physics apply.
They don't. Not in this world.
What a great way to end it. Not that they ever would, because it makes too much money. But like, yeah, Jason Momoa just fully killed all the characters, like he said he was gonna.
We don't think they're ever gonna end it, which is good, because then we don't know what we would do here. I mean, we have to just keep watching the same movies over and over again. But like, I think agree that they're not gonna keep going with this cast and crew for very much longer.
I have a note this time, Joey, when we were watching this, considering like we're just coming off, doing all the bullshit we do in the background, whatever, and like watching the earlier movies, the cast looks so much different than they did when this started. Like it was stark to me this time that I was watching this, that I was like, they have aged a lot. Like, we can't keep doing this because
just looking at the posters.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, even I just watched Lost for the first time.
Okay.
Cool. Semi-spoilers, Michelle Rodriguez is in Lost. And obviously, this is like 2004, Michelle Rodriguez. So that's the image in my mind. And then even just seeing her in Fast 10, I was like, oh boy, time is real. And it has passed.
And we're now like 3 years out from this movie to the next one. So like it's not going to get better for them.
Yeah, there is going to be 4 full years between this and the next one. So unclear what that actually means in terms of anything. I will also say tomorrow, which will be out, I think, actually, when is this episode going to come out? Not this episode, but the one we're recording tomorrow. We're doing a bonus episode tomorrow that's going to come out in mid to late September, with Larson as a guest. And Larson wants to talk about this movie that we're going to cover, Novocaine, the new Jack Quaid movie, because he's like, it's less about the movie and more about the state of action movies. And I think also, it's not just that these actors are getting older, but there's something, to Emily's point about like not being able to move forward, but also Joe about like compared to earlier stuff, there's so many sets in this movie that feel like the backyard barbecue no longer seems like a backyard. It's like a set on a backlot in Universal somewhere.
Very true.
And it feels different. Like, it feels not dead, but it feels like more hollow. Or like the scene where Brie Larson introduces herself and like there's the screens on the right. They're like, hey, new viewer, we're going to catch you up on who the family is. It's just like, that just is like you're in the volume at Disney somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, this is just like screens. And like, it feels so different. And I think there is a real, like, there was between the third movie and the fifth movie, for sort of like this pivot point, they went from being car movies to action movies. And I think it lost a lot of people. And I feel we've been along for the ride and we still like all these movies, but watching 5 and then 10 in the span of what, Joe, like 2 weeks or whatever, it's like,
oh no, yeah, it's like the commentaries. Different. That's what it was. That's why I'm like so focused on the earlier ones, because we've just been doing the commentaries in the background. Yes.
And so it's crazy to see the difference. And again, that's 12 years, 13 years production difference. Like it's a long time and a lot has happened, a lot of people, whatever, but still they're different.
Do you think they'll return to it? So I imagine as well, like, 2001, we're coming off the back of like action movies were not in vogue because no one wanted to see buildings collapsing in America for obvious reasons. And then everything was tangible and dirty. I can imagine the streets of the first Fast and Furious, you could like taste the dirt as a viewer. Here, I was like, I'm watching a shiny computer do something similar to the Star Warses, but then eventually the Star Warses did try and come back and put dirt on like Rey's helmet. Do you think they'll let Vin Diesel play in the mud again, or do you think he's too old and rich to even want to?
So this is a very good question.
Excellent question.
In between our episodes, we do like basically a news roundup, and part of that now is just checking Vin Diesel's Instagram every 2 weeks. And so he has been posting a lot about the next movies. Like he's trying to basically manifest everything. And what we are trying to decide, and we don't really know one way or the other, is whether what he's doing is the truth or what he wants.
Spin.
Or what Universal has told him it's going to be, and him making it seem like this is my decision.
We're trying to read between the lines because he's been outwardly saying we need to go back to the streets, go back to LA, bring this back grounded. But in the same sense, we know that Universal is telling them we're slashing your budget. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to go traipse around the world anymore. Cut this shit down and finish the franchise is essentially what they're saying to him that we've heard.
I did lose track of the amount of boom, Portugal, boom, Venezuela, boom, London. Yeah. I was like, why are we in so many different places? Why is there a Pete Davidson jump scare? That's very interesting. In terms of stalking Vin Diesel's Instagram, star power and the idea of it, is it even that anymore? Is Vin Diesel a producer on these movies?
He's been a producer for a while, yeah.
And he's essentially the creative director, too.
Yeah, so he's not just the star, he's essentially helming the project, like the charmed women in the later seasons, which became incredibly self-indulgent. Is the same thing happening here? And is Universal trying to put reins on him?
Well, so I think going back to the original question of, like, will they go back and put dirt on them? Like, they might, but it might not be Vin's
idea to do.
But it might be like, oh, I told Universal we got to bring it back to California. We got to bring it back to street racing. We got to bring back, oil on the jeans. But Universal's like behind the scenes, hey, this last movie cost $325 million. You got $150 for the next one, however you want to spend it. He's like, okay, cool, we'll do it in California or what,
Yeah, so we don't know.
I mean, they're not going to be able to afford half the cast on that budget, surely. So I think they are all dead.
Well,
they
also
can't afford to come back.
The people that we killed off, though, are not the expensive ones. Like, The Rock is going to take $20 million.
Expensive.
Cena's expensive. Vin Diesel's, but, like, I don't know.
That's mad. That's really interesting.
So we have no clue what the next one's going to be. So when you go to the theater, we are as blind as you are. They haven't even started shooting yet. Like, they were, like, not even... Vin Diesel's been at the Universal lot.
It's meant to be out in 2026.
Well, no, it's going to be 27 now. They have now pushed it out to 27. So there's a long time to wait. They wanted it for next year. What we had heard was they wanted it next year because next year is the 25th anniversary.
This year.
Well, yeah, they also yes, but also now the latest that we have heard is April of 27. So you got plenty of time to watch these first 9 movies.
It would be fascinating if it just never materialized. Is that also an option? If this whole franchise just ends at the end of Fast 10?
Yeah, on the dam, the water break. We don't know.
Everybody dead.
I don't think they can do that because I think that they know that they can cash in on one more, so they'll give us something, but we don't know what that's going to look like in any form right now.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I had forgotten I did have another brush with Fast and Furious, and it was at the Universal backlot.
Oh, yes, you said that in the email,
thing, and you
went to Universal California?
I had no clue.
Nice, cool. That's very
so cool. Not like so when you say the backlot, you talk about like where they shoot, not like the actual like theme park. Or what did you see? Like, what was your brush with the Fast and Furious out there?
Yeah, so it's you get on the like the little tram ride and they take you round the backlot where they shoot everything. But there's a couple of things they do that are like ride-ish. So you'll see the Jaws shark, you'll see the weather, the stream flood and the buildings burn. And then they take you into what I believe used to be like a Jurassic Park thing.
Okay.
But now it's like like Vin Diesel shows up and he's like, "Hello, everyone, you got to help me do a thing," and then you get shaken around a bit, and then Michelle Rodriguez is like, "Thanks so much for your help," and then you carry on, and they're like, "This is Norman Bates's house," and you're like, "Cool, what the fuck just happened?"
Right. Okay. Because there was, in Florida, there was a Fast and Furious ride called Supercharged that they ripped out, and they're replacing with maybe they were replacing that with Jurassic Park. I don't know. They're replacing.
They're making a roller coaster. They said that they're also making a Fast and Furious roller coaster.
Well, they're making that's in California though.
That's
but
right.
The ride in Florida became something else. But it was the same kind of thing where like you would walk through like a set, sort of like a repurposed set from the first movie, and then you would get on this like tram, sort of, and Ludacris to be there and be like, "Hey, this party's crazy, but we need your help for this mission," or whatever. And then there'd be like a little bit of rocking back and forth. So like it was more of a ride than a tour, but it feels very similar to what you experienced.
Yeah, it's definitely a ride, but it's in the middle of a tour. Okay. Like they can't trust us to pay attention to somebody, so they have to like throw things at us for a minute and then carry on.
Makes sense.
So you're just trying to get the history of a studio, but they're like, no, here's Vin Diesel. And you're like, okay. Also, this is going to sound stupid, but watching this movie, I was like, oh, that's just what he sounds like. He's not like doing a voice for Groot.
No, that's just his voice.
That's just what he.
Well,
so
I didn't know.
We have thoughts. We think that is Vin Diesel's voice, and perhaps not Mark Sinclair's voice.
So Vin Diesel's birth name is Mark Sinclair.
So
I see.
So I kind of have a theory that there's about 3 different versions of him right now. There's Dom Toretto, which he exists as sometimes in these movies and outside.
The character, yes.
Because like he just has been Dom for so long. Then he is Vin Diesel sometimes, like on his Instagram. A lot of the time it feels like Vin Diesel. And then there's also like a guy that really likes Dungeons and Dragons, and that's Mark Sinclair.
Because there is the character he cares about the most is Riddick. That's his thing. He came back to this franchise, the Fast and Furious.
As in the Chronicles of.
Yes. That's his baby. Because he came back to this.
Fun fact about me, that's one of 2 movies I turned off halfway through.
Okay. Cool.
And I've never gone back.
Well,
so he loves those so much that he came back to these movies to get the rights to that, to keep making more of that. But he realizes these movies, and maybe
make
also
money.
Groot, but Groot's a little bit different. These are like the things that he is in, his face is in. This is what the most people care about. So he is like very Dom forward in terms of that. So Joe is saying like, where is he himself? Where is he Dom? Like they're kind of blending because it's like this persona where we can't always tell, and it feels like he can't always tell. Is he acting? Is he acting? Or is he just himself?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I was really noticing as well how little I'd seen the cast in anything else. They're perfectly notable actors who are very, very famous. And I was watching through and I was like, well, obviously anyone that's been in like Suicide Squad, like those 2 I know. That one was also in a superhero movie, so I know them. Beyond that, in fact, most of them have been in a superhero movie now at that point.
Most actors have been in a superhero movie,
Hollywood, but you know, as superheroes. But I was thinking about it and I was like, God, beyond the Meg, I obviously know him. He was a diver for the UK. But I don't think I've actually seen Jason Statham in a movie. I don't think I've seen Vin Diesel in a movie.
We saw him in half a movie,
other
apparently.
than the Chronicles of Riddick. Half a movie, yeah. I was very young in my defense. In theory, it should be right up my street. But like, no, he was like talking to Judi Dench, I think. I just turned it off. I never turn movies off. I turned off 3 movies in my life, and I say 2 now because I went back and finished one of them, and I actually really enjoyed it. So maybe I should do the same for the other 2. The other one was Blade Runner. I haven't finished Blade Runner.
I think you can probably not go back to Riddick. I think like Riddick is what Riddick is. Like,
you got enough of it. If you turned it off, I mean, like unless you, like you said, you were very young and your tastes have changed, you probably got what the idea of Riddick was. Yeah.
What was the movie that you went back to and finished?
Blade Runner, she said.
No, that was the 3rd one.
No. I didn't finish Blade Runner. So those are the 2 movies, Riddick and Blade Runner, that I've never finished and haven't gone back to. I went back to He's Just Not That Into You,
okay.
which I turned off halfway through, and then I went back and watched it as like an adult, and I was like, this is fun. That's cute.
I would also say in terms of a Statham movie, if you want that, I would say watch Spy, which we have not watched, but that's a Melissa McCarthy. It's a comedy action movie where he's very, very funny in it. And I would also say
nice.
I like the original Blade Runner. I do not love the original Blade Runner, but I love the new Blade Runner 2049 with Ryan Gosling. So
it's really good, yeah.
Different thing altogether. Not altogether, but like a different thing. So if you want to be like, do I actually like this thing, but maybe in a more modern, better, different version, check that out.
Yeah, do you know what it was? It was Harrison Ford like sexually assaults the like robot lady, and I was like, sorry, you're the hero. Why are you like doing that? Stop. So I turned it off. And then I watched on YouTube the Tears in the Rain speech. I was like, tick, Blade Runner done. I do have a question how you guys feel about, interestingly, going back to our conversation about bringing it back to the streets of LA. The streets of LA, allegedly, I have read, protest how that specific street that his character lives on in downtown is now filled with like drag races and and traffic incidents, and now at an all-time high on that street of people trying to do a Fast and Furious. And so if they were to bring it back to the streets, do they have a responsibility to try and actually not bring it back to the streets because of all of that stuff?
The house, if you go on Google Maps, the house is
blurred out.
Blurred out, yeah. Like you can't see.
Really?
Yeah, the house. We've never gone. I would like to go see the house. Apparently, yes, it's just a shit show pretty much all the time. The market, everything. People go there, take pictures with their cars all the time. As a neighbor, I'd probably be very, very frustrated. I don't think that they can revert back from it. It's a lost cause.
No, you can't undo it.
Yeah, because it's just like a real house, right? Like people just like live there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think we will go there when the ride is open in Universal Studios California, and we'll go out there and do a whole like little mini tour and make a lot of locals upset. Not that we're gonna be racing through the streets, but like, hey, there's the house, there's the market. They'll be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So Emily, I have a question for you because I know how we feel about this, but okay, so you have seen this movie. You are theoretically maybe in the next 20 months before the next movie is supposed to come out. We'll watch the first 9, but knowing only this movie, which elements of this movie, of the many cliffhangers and unanswered threads, would you, as a new / casual / whatever fan of the franchise, because I know that you're a fan, I know you love this movie, what would you be most upset about if they do not resolve? Because like as we've sort of mentioned and alluded to, like we don't know what the next one will be at all, and there's things that we sort of prioritize in terms of like, well, they have to do this, they can't do this, whatever. But as someone who's only come in and seen this movie, has no history or baggage or whatever, because like for us, it would be annoying if like Gal Gadot and The Rock don't come back because it's like, well, they've been gone for several movies and they come back, but you're just like
tease them.
But you're just like, oh, they're in the movie, I guess, whatever. Like I don't care. Like I don't know them from the world, so like that wouldn't count. But like, what in this movie would you be like, I want more of that, and be like, well, they brought that up and they didn't bring it back.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I actually do agree with you in terms of The Rock, because he had his post-credit scene, and I would hate for him to end up in the graveyard with, Hercules and Charlize Theron in the MCU and all of the other end credit scenes that have never gone anywhere over the years. So just in terms of like, because I didn't know who he was, so I was like, seems vaguely relevant, so I hope they bring him back. It's more things that, like, I hope we get to see things unfold, as you've alluded to potentially them just being like, boing, anyway, everything's fine. I want to see the women actively make their way back from Antarctica.
Okay.
And that be a thing, and not just jump on a jet. I would love to see what Jason Momoa intends to do now that he's kind of won. Like, I want to see him leave the dam, and I want to see what he would do now that his whole reason for living is over and he's achieved it. And I know Dom's not technically dead, but he may as well be, because anyway, that's his thing. He was always going to leave him alive because he's like, dead is, it's like, my favorite movie of all time is Dragonheart, and King Einan in that always says, which is directed by Rob Cohen, who I believe directed the first Fast and Furious movie. I learned that last night. I was like, what? Good boy. And his thing, his catchphrase is always like, death is a release, not a punishment. And that was essentially what Jason Momoa was going for, where he was like, I'm not going to kill him because then he doesn't suffer. I want him to suffer. And the best way to get Vin Diesel to suffer is to kill everyone around him. Obviously, the son is still alive, so it's not fully ticked off there. But so that, I want to see Jason Momoa really make an actual shot at killing the little boy.
Oh.
Sorry, but like you can't just say you're
that's a good one. No, it's the perfectly evil answer. Like that's a great. Yeah, I want to see him try to kill baby. That's just like that's so not in the realm of possibility in my head that like that was the first time I literally ever thought it. Like I don't think in no world did I see Jason Momoa just like cold blood kill the child.
And that's what's obviously going to be really fun about these movies, where in my head I was like, everyone's safe because it makes too much money. But then John Cena fucking committed suicide on screen. And I was like, what? That came out of nowhere for me. That was absolutely insane. And he can't come back because it was like a proper teary goodbye that I had absolutely no emotional stakes in. So I was just watching it completely baffled and not at all upset. And like, sorry, were people crying in the cinema at this? Why is what?
Well, also not really, because like not he's at all for us. Been there.
He's been in one previous movie, and also like,
and he was a villain for 75% of that.
And death is so like not real in these movies. Like if we love them enough in our heart, like that, I feel this. Genuinely, it feels like if you love a Fast and the Furious character enough in your heart, they still are alive. And they will eventually come back. Like, every character that we're like, we really like this character, they're like, okay, fine. And they just write them back into the thing. Like,
oh my God.
There's a lot of fan service. Yeah.
The power, yeah. I would just want them to genuinely go forward with what they're trying to do. I feel like, obviously, the agency is now technically being run by somebody who's actually evil and has been bought by Jason. So what does that like? What is the I don't know what the are they like MI5? Like who are they? I'm genuinely confused. Is that a problem or does it not matter that that's happened?
Well, that's a good question. There's been a lot of, as you can probably imagine, a lot of like shady, shadowy government agencies in this franchise that really have not fully been explored or explained. And it's like government bad, but also government kind of good, depending on like your current perspective. In the spin-off movie in Hobbs and Shaw, there is a separate agency that is all about like cybernetic enhancement of humans, and they're never coming back. Like it's just a thing where it's, well, there's interesting ideas, but they're not going to spin back.
But there was supposed to be a continuation of Hobbs and Shaw that was going to come between these movies before like everything kind of broke bad with the writer strike and like all this stuff. That at the end of this, we assumed that the next year we were going to get a Hobbs and Shaw 2 continuation, and then the year after that we were going to get the continuation to this, and we were going to start hitting a every year, every other type situation going forward.
So Shaw is Jason Statham.
Yes.
What's Hobbs?
So Hobbs was a cop in 5 tasked to bring down the family. By the end of that movie,
played by The Rock.
Yes, played by The Rock. By the end of that movie,
is Hobbs. Yeah.
By the end of that movie, he lets them go, and then in the 6th movie, he recruits them for a job. He's not like family, but he's like, you're the only people who can help me. In the 6th movie, Owen Shaw, the Welsh actor, who is definitely not British. I apologize again.
It's okay. It's fine.
Is the villain, and so the family defeats him and sends him to the hospital. And so Jason Statham plays his brother, getting revenge. But
it's a lot of revenge of family vengeance. Is like
there's also within the franchise there is a Justice for Han thing because he kills a fan favorite character. That character we said that like died, then came back to life, then died
Sun
again.
Kang, that's in this,
was killed by Jason Statham's character, and so people were mad that he is now working with the family. So like that movie was like two formerly not family, but now on the same side, but also hate each other because they're both alpha bros. Having to work together.
It's a buddy cop movie. It's a buddy cop movie with Jason Statham and The Rock in kind of the Fast and the Furious universe.
But Helen Mirren was talking to Vin Diesel
because she's Jason Statham's mom.
Isn't talking.
She's Jason Statham's mom. Yeah.
But then Jason Statham's like, "Oh, what are you doing in my house?" But it's like, well, your mom was talking to us just fine. I was shocked as honestly, like at that point I was like, who's not in these bloody movies?
So yes, that was going to be the idea. There was also a point where after this movie comes out, because for years, literal years, there's been this blood feud between Vin Diesel and The Rock because they don't like the way in real life because they don't like the way each other like behaves on set. And so then in this movie, because like there's no way that like the Hobbs, like I said for years, like there's no way Hobbs is just gone. Like he's got to come back. And then finally he's in the credits here, and they're like, okay, he's coming back. So
that was more of a surprise than Gal to us, because we were like, we know the behind the scenes feud. Seeing Rock in the post credit scene, we were like, we never thought that there was a chance that they've amended their relationship in real life enough that he can be in these movies again.
And so The Rock goes on Instagram and posts like a 5-minute video about how like there's going to be another movie just about my character and where I've been. And we're like, oh, cool. And then that's probably not going to happen. And then Vin Diesel's out here talking about, oh, there's going to be a prequel movie to Fast 10 Part 2 called Los Bandoleros 2, Dos Bandoleros, whatever. But there's all these movies, like Joe was saying, like the alternating timelines or the female spin-off or now this Hobbs movie or whatever. And
Vin
the most likely
pitched a
reality,
lot of things.
The most likely reality is we have one more movie left, which is the culmination of this, but also might not answer any of the questions that we have.
Oh my God, can you imagine? I mean, yeah, you guys don't have to imagine, you're living it, but like, that's insane. That is insane. Also, how can they just take to Instagram and spout all this stuff off? Can you imagine this was the 90s? They wouldn't have, one had that power. Not even Kevin Costner.
So Vin Diesel also has you covered there, because on the red carpet for F9, they're like, he says, again, whether it's true or not, he was making it true. Universal loves this movie so much they want to make 2 more movies.
He said I'm gonna make 1 more. He said we might even make 2, or like something along these lines, which is not what is seemingly happening currently. So we don't know where the truth lies between Vin Diesel and the Universal executives at all.
Are these movies making money?
They are, but they cost. The budget is $325 or whatever.
Well, that was $325 because they didn't start. They started late because.
But still, it's not going to be like that much lower. Yeah. Then you're going to like spend a lot of money on marketing, and it's going to make $600 or $700 million. So like, it's making money, but the amount of time and probably headaches and logistics that they have to go through to make this movie, it's not making enough money to be worth it. Like it's profitable, but it's not. It's not like Paranormal Activity that costs $25,000 that makes, $100 million or whatever, right? Like it's not.
Oh my God. Oh, the lore, it runs so deep. No wonder you guys are watching this for the 10th time. It's fascinating. Oh man. I think I'd feel weird going back and watching the first movie now, to be honest, after what I've experienced.
I wish that we didn't have a guest for Next Lap's first movie, because I want you to come back and talk about just the first movie, be like, wow, that was so different. But like, I want you
what a lovely independent drama.
You definitely need to watch a couple more and then pick another one and come back and watch it with us and talk about it. Just like whatever you want to watch and get back to, because like
it makes sense to do 5 because that relates to this one.
So 5, 6, and 7 are kind of like a 3-episode arc, kind of, is what I say. They're kind of like a trilogy, because Justin Lin did those ones and then left, and then came back to do 9 and was going to do 10, but left 10 during shooting. But he does 5, 6, 7. He does, No, he does 3. What does he do, Joey?
3, 4, 5, 6, 9.
3, 4, 5, 6, and then 9. Yes, sorry, that's what I meant. 3, 4, 5, 6.
And can you tell? Is it like Harry Potter, where you can tell that someone else is at the reins?
Yes. For a lot of them, because 2 is
John Singleton.
John Singleton, so like it's very John Singleton. And like Rob Cohen is 1. You'll be like, if you like Rob Cohen, you'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
I can see him directing. That's the kind of thing he was doing, because Jay came on my podcast to talk about Daylight, which is Rob Cohen.
Yeah,
right.
Globally action movie. So yeah, I can see him doing that well.
Yeah,
but
go back to either do 5 or 1. Either start at the very beginning or do 5, because also like
but
the
1,
first
2,
one
3 is a wild ride, and then 4 is very like feels even more out of place. But that's a kind of the reboot. Either way, anywhere you want. Pick and choose. Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, it does sound like you really can, because they don't really seem to have an overarching plot in any way beyond family.
They do 5, 6, 7, like 5, 6. That's
right.
like you start to hit like
you got to watch them back to back, but otherwise you're fine. Who would you like to direct a Fast and Furious?
Any number of people. We for a while were saying like Tarantino or Fincher or somebody, just like somebody who's like really good, because like they've had good directors and they've made
James
good movies,
Gunn would
like,
be fun, right? Like somebody like that too.
I thought Edgar Wright, he's just doing Running Man, and that felt very
I would love, like, you know,
style.
Chloe Zhao's out here talking about how Eternal's bombed. Like, I'd love to have her do one, just like...
Greta, have Greta do one. That will be wild.
Mumblecore black and white Fast and Furious. I'd love that. This might be the answer you give might already be in the franchise, but is there an actor that you think would fit these movies that you would like to see? Or that you hope was in another one of these movies that you don't know that's in another one of these movies?
Again, I think I'm projecting what I want, though. I can totally, and I think I'm coming off the back of Sin City here, but I can see Elijah Wood as like Elijah Wood and Daniel Radcliffe as like a co-villain pair, like just being freaky little guys. This thing, whenever I think of like an action movie like this, I can never think who to fill the cars with, because I don't really watch those kind of movies, but I'm always like, oh, well, let's get like Barry Cohen to be like the villain in it. Like, let's just get like some little freakadeek to be the offset of like how much masculinity is happening over here in the cars. Whereas in terms of like, because this is the thing, when I always try and cast my own female Expendables, I stop after Michelle Rodriguez because I can't think of anyone else who would be in it. But I would want to try and litter it with more women. And there are so many action women out there. You know who I want? I want the woman that played the Mummy in the original 1999 Mummy.
Who is it?
She's in Arrested Development as well.
I thought you were talking about Sofia Boutella from the new one. Are you talking about...
No, I'm not talking about her. No, I'm talking about the good Mummy film.
Patricia Velasquez.
Yes, her. I love her. But yeah, because like the new Mummy would be like the obvious choice, because she was also in Kingsman as like an action
and Atomic
lady.
Blonde. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, just trying to think outside the box a bit more.
Well, there is a thing where you were talking about why is Helen Mirren talking to Vin Diesel? It's because Vin Diesel loves older women. Like, so casting an older woman as an action star, like, he is slowly, also just because everybody's getting older, he's slowly making these movies into like the Red franchise, where it's just like, well, why is that 70-year-old woman holding a rocket launcher? It's like, because she wants to, and also because he like has a crush on like Rita Moreno. Why is she here? Because he probably loves her.
Yeah,
and they seem to really like him too. Like, the Helen Mirren casting was because she's like went on some show and was like, I would love to be in a Fast and Furious movie, and then she like casted herself essentially, and they like made a character.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh, good for her. Yeah, more of that. Like, absolutely more of that. There's got to be like retired agents that you could pull out of a retirement home for a 5-minute segment of a movie and just have real fun. Basically, it'd be Hot Fuzz, wouldn't it? You just have all the like old actors.
We're getting there anyway. You know what I mean? Like, the main actors are kind of the old actors by this point.
Yeah.
Like, there was a difference between somebody being like 28 and 53, still somehow playing like a 40-year-old or whatever.
Oh, I cannot wait till you meet Sean Boswell, Emily. I cannot wait till you meet Sean Boswell.
So also just the absolute, and maybe I was more noticing this because I just come off the back of the new Superman, where they make such a conscious effort to not do this. But they're just killing everyone. They don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
They are just smashing their cars. Police pile-ups. I was like trying to count the dead, like, oh no, these people really need to. And then I gave up after like the first fight scene, because I was like, they just don't. They're trying to save Venice, like they're the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but like, actually, not Venice, sorry, Rome. Just wanted to get a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen reference in there, but still, like, that bomb rolling through the streets towards the Vatican, and just countless people dying, and they're not concerned. They're like, oh, we need to save Rome. And it's like, well, abide by the speed limit to begin with, lads. You're just killing everyone. With seemingly no consequences. And the only time it's ever really adhered to is when like the guy who's like so clearly a villain from the word go anyway is like, they shouldn't be allowed to do this. They're essentially vigilantes. And you're like, yeah, I mean, they kind of are. They're literally killing everyone. And like the opening of 5 as well, I was like, I know we're probably on the side of like cops bad in this franchise, but like those cops had families, Vin Diesel.
So in 5, they come out and say every cop in Rio is dirty.
Except for one who is, but we know where she is.
Every single one.
That's what they say. So like after they kill a bunch of them, they're like every cop in Rio is dirty, and then they're like, that's just how you get over it morally. There. So.
And in Rome, was every like pedestrian in Rome dirty?
No. There is one news report that says no casualties were reported.
Yes, they do this too. So they'll just be like, yeah, no casualties. Like, Rome was a bomb.
I don't believe you. I don't believe all of those cars were empty. Yeah. I don't believe you. Oh my God, that's so funny. I mean, I get it. We're like in an era now of cinema where people are taking the time to take on the criticisms of previous movies and be like, oh, I'm going to do a Superman movie where he makes a conscious effort to like ensure that no buildings crumble and no dog gets crushed or whatever.
And no squirrel gets crushed either.
And no squirrel gets crushed, exactly. But like now, obviously you can't apply that same rule to the Fast and the Furious. It's not fair for me to do so. I just do think it's very funny how much I was like, bloody hell, you can tell I don't really watch action movies.
But, you watch this one for us, and that's all we can ask.
And we thank
you. It was a joy. I really did have a good time.
Joe, do you have other notes, other thoughts about Fast 10?
No. I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, fun thing I noticed this time is somehow the family barbecue has 2 bottles of A1, one on each side of the table.
Important. They go through a lot, I guess. Even though
I was like, why A1 is doubled? There's like a whole bunch of condiments this time. A1 twice. I was like, interesting.
And Leo and Santos aren't that there, so like it's Dom or somebody like reliable cooking the. So you don't need, if you have like good barbecue, you don't need A1.
I would think, but I don't know. They like it.
Do they have a lot of barbecues then? Is that their thing? Do they like begin and end every movie with a barbecue?
Kind of, yeah. You get like one somewhere. Yeah, usually beginning or end for sure, but yeah.
My only note was that in that scene where Mia is playing video games with Baby B and she calls herself his favorite auntie, like I know it's a joke, but also like, does Letty have any siblings? Like, do we know, like, are there aunties on Letty's side that like are different and like she's like trying to pit herself against these like Letty Ortiz sisters who I don't know. Don't know. Not important. We'll probably never know.
We'll never know.
Just curious.
I'm still I'm going to need like a full-on poster of timeline, a family tree as to like
we would like one too. Yeah.
Related to who through blood, through marriage, through who is the woman? There was that woman that did die, and I assume she died because Charlize Theron killed her.
Yes.
Like because there was a flashback, and then that's why we got to meet Ratcatcher 2, who then was like, "Oh, I'm her sister," and I'm like,
"Yeah."
I'm sorry if. Like, my sister has a completely different job to me. She also lives in a completely different country to me. And if I found out that she'd been, like, killed, I'd be very sad and I'd attend the funeral and I'd be absolutely heartbroken. I don't think I would then start aligning myself with whatever, like, criminal underworld she'd been previously a part of.
Well,
like,
she was a cop.
Yeah, I'm her sister.
Well, she was a cop. So.
Okay.
She was the only good cop in Rio. Her sister was the only good cop in Rio. That wasn't.
Of course she was.
Yeah. Even though she dies too, but yes.
Emily, before we go, we're going to play one game. Are you ready to find out which Fast and Furious character you are?
Oh my God, yes!
So there's a good chance that the character you get is not in this movie. So even when you do go back and watch all the movies,
just take note.
You will know. You'll be like, oh, that's me, and you can follow them along. You also might get a character from this movie. We had originally found, years and years ago when we started the podcast, we found a quiz online that we thought was okay, but we could do better, so we made our own. We did not update to add new characters from this movie, but we have characters as recent as Hobbs and Shaw. So the first 9 movies that have released, you can get a character from there. So there's 7 questions, 6 multiple choice answers per question, no wrong answers. Are you ready to find out which Fast and Furious character you are?
Yes.
Question number 1, how fast are you? NASCAR, roller coaster, Lamborghini Murcielago, Toyota Prius, Vespa, or Razor scooter?
Vespa.
Question number 2, you know it's coming. How furious are you? The Hulk, Kylo Ren, Christian Bale on that one movie set that one time, Mel Gibson, Charlie Brown, or Jack McBrayer?
Christian Bale on that one movie set that one time.
Okay.
Emily, we are having a barbecue. How are you helping? Are you on the grill? Are you saying grace? Are you kicking back with a beer? Are you babysitting? Are you being the entertainment? Or are you sneaking a snack?
I'm being the entertainment.
Oh, okay.
You've got time to kill. What are you doing? Are you grabbing a bite? Working on your car? Hanging with friends? Drinking a beer? Working out? Or doing some work on your computer?
Drinking a beer.
Describe your wedding. I'm never getting married. It's just me and my partner. It's us and our families. It's a backyard country affair. Everyone I know is there. I don't remember.
It's just me and my partner.
You just won the lottery. Congratulations. What are you buying? Your own garage, a private plane, I'm gambling it all away, my childhood home, a fleet of cars, or a new life?
Oh, a new life.
What is your drink of choice? Belgian ale, Corona, something fruity, water, whatever's cheapest, or just, Joe's going to the bar. Get me one of whatever you're having.
Whatever you're having.
Ooh, we've not had this person in a while. You were for the first 5
I know.
questions.
Very, very strong. Yeah.
No, you don't know.
I don't know?
Dinkley for a while.
Wow. Okay.
Kevin Hart.
Word.
Kevin Hart was in 2 scenes of one movie. You were Kevin Hart for a while.
Amazing.
Then you pivoted to someone else, and you pivoted to someone else at the very end there. Whatever you're having, Emily, he was not in this movie, but you are Brian O'Connor. You are Paul Walker.
Oh, yes.
Your confidence might seem misplaced at first glance, but you have the skills to back it up. And if you ever find yourself in a situation you can't drive, punch, or shoot your way out of, your smile and quiet charm will usually do the trick. When it comes time to make a hard choice, you will always follow your heart and choose the path that protects your family, and you drive like the wind blows.
Oh my god, it's so me.
It's so you.
That's perfect.
We've not had it, Brian, for a little while, but you are like the heart and soul of the franchise. And when you died
I
in
love
real life,
that.
we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I hope that you release a song that brings teenage boys to tears.
My wife still says she gets forklumped when she hears the song in the grocery store.
We can do a minor key version of Before He Cheats, just a really somber version of that, and be like
on the piano.
Emily, gone too soon.
Yeah.
Before we say goodbye to you, I do want to shout out to our patrons. So shout out to Alex Ellenen, Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez, Fatherhood, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden, Renato DiDonato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, Josh Buckley of Whole Lot of Wolves, Michael Moser, Christian Larson, Tara Newman, Aaron Willows, and Natalie Absolute, Randy Carter, Alex Walsh, Jack Haley, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting the $5 a month level or above. Email in for next episode will be Life in the Fast Lane. But Emily, thank you so much for joining us.
That was a ton of fun, especially because you haven't seen any.
Thank you for being such a good sport.
Yeah.
Oh my god, thank you so much for having me. This has been absolute joy.
Where can people find you? You mentioned a podcast. You mentioned a letterbox. Do you want to be found? Do you want to be a mystery? Where can people find you who listen to this podcast?
You can, so they're currently on holiday, but you can go and listen to Why This Film, Movies of Your Childhood, where I sit down with a guest and we discuss a movie from their childhood. You can find me on In a Barbie World, where my co-host and I are going through all the Barbie movies. Yes, there is more than one. There's actually 47.
Wow.
And they're all animated.
We watched for Christmas, because I had heard Barbie and the Nutcracker. They're like, this is the best Nutcracker. And I was just like, it wasn't. It was...
Okay, so we do have a leaderboard on Letterboxd, which you can find. They are so good. They are so good. We're about to hit that Netflix era where we think the quality is going to start to dip, but we've been expecting the quality to dip. The BCU has several phases, and it goes from ballet adaptations to literary adaptations, and they try and do something meta where Barbie's an actress and she's playing herself and all the things. Then they go back to just doing normal stories where she's just Barbie. Then we reach the Netflix era, but they've, honest to God, they don't need to be this good, and they're really good. So,
okay.
That's awesome.
So there's that. I did do, you can go listen to what the hell is it called? Through Dangers Untold, where we do a chapter by chapter breakdown of Labyrinth.
Ooh.
That's all out and published now, so you can go listen to that if you love Labyrinth. And then yeah, that pretty much wraps my podcasting career up that I want you to listen to.
Wonderful. Well, we have two listeners, Michael and Josh, who sponsored an entire lap, and basically feels like they picked 100,000 movies that all fit into your exact, like they picked Labyrinth and they picked like all those movies that like feel like we're in the
childhood
forest
movies
in the 80s and we're just like that. So I think they, at least, if not many more of our listeners, would appreciate your podcast because it feels like you like and grew up on the same kind of movies. So go check out all of her podcasts. Like I said, our next episode is Life in the Fast Lane. After that, we are going to talk about a very different style of Vin Diesel. We're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, because we have to talk about Vin Diesel and Kurt Russell in another movie.
In a different
together.
movie, yeah.
Yes. But for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFast2Forever, or at TooFast2Forever on some of the socials. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFast2Forever.com and our store at cageclub.me/shop. Get the NFL young boy. Get geared up for the new season.
Get back. He's on the Cowboys now, but you can still get. They let us back in.
And come back next week for Life in the Fast Lane number 55, where I will explore. I forgot to do it this time, but I will explore the life and career of Mr. Bow Wow, because I did not do that last time, but I will do it this time. And we're gonna get up to that. We talked about it. That photo he took on a public plane, saying it's my private plane. And we're like, no, it's not.
So did you see the thing that I posted in the Discord?
I did not.
He was working at Walmart the other day. So
okay, well, I will cover that too.
We could talk about that too. Yeah.
I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And that was Emily Slade of Why This Film, the Movies of Your Childhood, and we will tell you all about it
when we see you again.